These guests. The guests complain about everything that they specifically asked for. Danny and Chase are still insufferable, and Gary got shot down by Daisy.
I'm Morgan.
I'm Lane.
And welcome to Below Deck Experts. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Below Deck Experts after a 1-week hiatus where we forgot how to do this.
Yep.
This is a sibling duo show that recaps current Below Deck seasons. We are currently recapping Below Deck Sailing Yacht, Season 5, and today is Episode 12, Fraught Mess. Okay, so the main points we have today are Danny being in love with Chase after 72 hours, hence the insufferableness. I said the Gary and Daisy plot thickens.
Yeah.
And do these guests like fun?
No. I'm going to answer that one right now. No.
Oh, man. Okay. So going back to the Derry and Gazy thing, is it a setup for the show? Is it completely for the show? Do you think?
I think so.
Yeah, same.
Yeah. Yeah. I was even thinking that while they were talking. I'm like, this was just to continue this whole line of storyline, if you will.
In other words.
What
some people say. What some people call it, storyline.
Of them, like, will they, won't they? It's a whole...
I know.
And I'm like, I don't care.
I would rather see her and Keith.
Yeah.
I would rather see her, Keith, and Cloyce in a love triangle.
that would be interesting.
That Daisy has no idea about. You know what I mean? Like both of them think they're like they have a shot, and like Daisy has like no clue. You know?
That would be awesome. Really, anything without Gary and
for real
would just be fun. I would like to see Cloyce and Keith go at it, but they seem like friends.
Oh my god, we'll get there. But the point where like Chase is telling Cloyce to go for it with Daisy, I'm like, it's the blind leading the blind.
It really is. Like, yeah.
Oh gosh. You have a question?
I do.
Okay.
Kind of the same line as yours. Could you relate to any of the guests' complaints? Like, did they say one thing where you're like, okay, I get it?
Oh, yes. I will give them this one thing. 7 drinks is crazy.
Yeah.
7 full-size drinks is crazy.
Yeah.
I think you can do that. Number one, you can do that with wine if you give them like a tasting glass. But that's really the only thing I would think that would be appropriate for 7 courses would be wine pairings with things again that are like 1 ounce.
Yeah. And like I see the train of thought though, like, oh, these guests want a mixology class. They must be super into cocktails. Let's make them 7 really good cocktails.
That's so many though.
But it's a lot, yeah.
And here's the thing is like, and when they said like, hey, stop bringing us full-size drinks, Daisy was like, oh, you guys don't have to drink them all. But I think as a guest, and this is where I'm giving them grace because they were annoying about a lot of other things, you do feel a little obligated. Like, you made me this whole drink, I'm going to sip it, and then you're going to take away basically the full drink. It's just a weird spot to be in.
Can't relate, but that's why I'm in AA.
Exactly. Yep. Yeah. Don't know what you're talking about, but...
Yeah, no idea what you're talking about, but I'm sure normal people do.
No, but that was the one thing where I was like, yeah, it would have been cool. And they even like made the point. They're like, make 2 full-size drinks and split it up between the 6 or 7 of us, and that would have been fine.
Yeah.
So they were also eating so late.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was...
Started at 9:30.
Yeah, I didn't get done till like midnight. I don't know if that was on them or on... It was probably on them because they always say what time they want to eat.
Yeah.
They didn't even want the 7 courses.
No.
They were like over it by course 3.
They specifically asked for it and then didn't want it.
Yeah. So, I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was the one thing. I was like, yeah, the 7 drinks is actually kind of crazy.
Yeah. I feel like stuff like that whatever it was, I can't think of, you would have like your drink that you're drinking the whole time, and then like it would come in little samplers,
Exactly.
like you said. So I don't know.
Yeah, they tried. So we start out the episode. My first note is, I'm sorry, what? Gary wants to celebrate being sober by going out for a drink with Daisy?
Yeah.
That kind of shows me that like it wasn't like, oh, I'm never going to drink again. I'm just not going to like binge drink.
Yeah, he says something later in the episode where I'm like, ooh, that is an alcoholic thought.
What was it?
That is how alcoholics think. I have it written down somewhere. Oh, here it is. Having Daisy being supportive of me not drinking makes me feel good because I know that she will be there for me at my best and at my worst when I'm drunk. What that means is I have a ticket of I didn't drink this one night, so I can go be an asshole and get hammered the other night.
I did have a note about that too. I didn't see it the same way you did as far as, because I didn't like really hear the alcohol part of it, but I put, let's see if I can find it. Dang. I'll find it as we're going through, but it was something along the lines of like, that's not a healthy relationship to be like, yeah, I would like Daisy because, I said, Gary literally wants someone to mother him in a relationship, and that's not what a relationship is.
No.
So that was the gist I got from it, where I was like, like,
Yeah, no.
that's you saying like, Daisy will take care of me when I'm, being sloppy or drunk or an asshole or whatever.
Yeah, or just any negative thing.
Right. And I was like, no, like that's not how it works.
No.
So yeah, and that's where it feels a little bit set up, because they're like out on this like quote unquote date. He's like, hypothetically, could you ever see us being together? It's like what the entire last season was, where
Yeah.
And then I think Daisy handled it well, but again, it still seems like kind of set up, where she's like, you don't like me, you like the idea of me. And a lot of people say that that's kind of a cliche saying, but it really does kind of pertain to this.
Yeah.
Because he does like the idea of being with someone like Daisy, but like if him and Daisy were meant to be together, they would have been together years ago, you know?
Yeah.
Like, that's not how that works.
And they've tried.
Well, yeah.
Kind of.
Who knows? And then Danny says something super cringy, which is nothing new, but she says like, basically like, I hope that Chase doesn't think that was a mistake. I'd like to do that again.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
we get it, Danny. You like sex.
I know, but it's so cringy because it's like, God. And I don't like to like slut shame or whatever. Like, you know what I mean? Like, what you want to do is what you do. Like, but it does kind of suck. Not that we're the biggest Deanna fans, but like when her and Daisy were talking about how she's like, yeah, I was interested in Chase, but like I wasn't going to sleep with him the first 24 hours. So I guess that's like out the door.
Good point.
Where Danny's like, yeah, I'll sleep with him within the first 3 hours. Like,
yeah.
It's just, it sucks to be around people like that. But at the same time, any guy that is going to do that, you also don't want.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, good point.
So, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't even know where that thought started.
I mean, I think Danny and Chase are fine together.
Yeah, I think I wrote, like, they deserve each other.
Yeah, just keep them away from everybody else. Let's see what happens.
Yeah. Yeah, and he makes a comment. One of our listeners messaged me. She's like, "Wait till you hear like what Chase said about why he hooked up with Danny," and it was something like, Chase said that Deanna is lovely but reserved, and Danny took a chance, and he's not upset about it.
Yeah, and he said like Danny is like a real go-getter.
Yeah, like what the fuck does
I'm
that
like,
mean?
you just kind of called her a hoe, like
Right. Like, but also like your I just totally lost what I was gonna say.
He's kind of saying like, I want a girl that's gonna sleep with me on the first night versus trying to work for it.
Yeah.
Kind of. Yeah.
Whatever. And that's why like they deserve each other. Whatever.
Yeah.
Like
2 peas in a pod.
Yeah. Oh, I said no offense, but then we see Deanna and Danny cleaning the master, I would not be helping her.
No.
Maybe Deanna's a better person than I am, but I'd be like, no. I already cleaned this yesterday. I didn't make it dirty.
Yeah.
Like, what?
No, I'm not helping you clean that. That's something I don't do.
Yeah. Nicer than me. So then we have the preference sheet meeting, and this is where we see the 7-course meal request. I think that's really all they kind of mentioned. Am I missing anything in the preference sheet meeting?
I don't think so. It wasn't much.
Yeah, Cloyce is just kind of, like, he starts preparing, and I actually like did kind of feel bad for him this episode because he's really been working hard, and when you have someone request a 7-course meal, you obviously assume that they specifically want 7 courses. They're excited for it. Where it's like these guests just Googled, hey, what should I ask for on a yacht? And then wrote it down. Like, so weird. I think that would, and I was like putting myself in their shoes, and I'm like, absolutely, I'd be so pumped. I would be like, I don't know. They had no, I guess what they said throughout the episode that we couldn't tell whether they were having a good time or not.
Yeah. And I mean, they even walked up to the boat like, oh, it's kind of small.
It's a huge boat.
It's a gigantic boat.
I know.
Like, what were you expecting?
Did they say what they do for work?
They did.
I
didn't write it down. I can't remember.
Yeah. Anyway, so let's see what's next. Yeah, that's where I put like Gary wants someone to mother him in a relationship. So yeah, then I guess we're to where the guests come on. And before we even knew anything about these guests, I was like, they seem interesting.
Yeah.
Like you said, when they first walked up, none of them seemed excited. They mentioned, oh, it's a sailboat. And I said, oh yeah, the quote was, this is nice, even though it's a sailboat. Did you not know that you were, isn't that a choice you make?
Yeah. Like that's not the only boat. Like, there's a bunch of boats.
I know. I was like, and then we're not even to this part yet, but when they start sailing, they hate it.
Oh, yeah. It's almost like they wanted like a cruise ship to themselves with machines to breathe for them. Like, I don't know. There was no way to make them happy.
Yeah, because they're immediately complaining about the drinks, but there's really no rhyme or reason to it. Like, they ask for margaritas from Daisy. She's making them. We see her coming out with a platter of margaritas, and they're like, somebody get my champagne from my room. And I'm like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Like, where's Daisy? Where's Daisy? And then they complain that the drinks are watered down. It was just like one thing after another. Like, they didn't make a huge deal about anything, but it was just constant negativity almost.
Yeah, and then there's one part where Daisy is being complained at by one half of the group, and then the other half of the group's like, where's Daisy? It's
right.
Like, that's not Daisy's fault. That's your group's fault.
Right.
Those are your friends, not mine.
Yeah, and then... So yeah, then they start sailing, then one of them is getting sick, but then later on in the episode, I think multiple of them got sick. Do you remember her, at the end, the one was saying that she was nauseous too, and they couldn't bring her a bag or a garbage can or something either?
Yeah.
It was just very quick, but I was like, I don't think that was the original one that got sick, but here's another thing. Here's another thing that, like, I'll give them a little bit of grace on. You need to have a protocol for that.
Yeah.
Why are you running around looking for something for them to throw up in?
Yeah, why'd you take the trash can out of the laundry room? Like, there should be some bags up there.
Right. People get seasick, even when you're not sailing.
Yeah.
It's like airplanes being surprised if someone's getting sick. Like, no, you have the little barf bag. Like,
yeah, it's literally right there with a magazine that has chewed gum in it.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. But yeah, that was the one thing where I was like, really? They're scrambling to find something for this guest to puke in.
Yeah.
It's just, it seemed weird.
And then she doesn't puke.
Maybe she does, and they just didn't show.
Yeah.
I didn't want to see that.
I guess I didn't really want to see it either. But then another thing when they're walking on, they're like, "Ooh, there's a hot tub, but it'd be nice if it was an actual pool."
I know.
Like, ocean right there. Gigantic.
Where now I get your point about the cruise ship, because I'm like, there's no other kind of boat that has a pool besides a giant cruise ship.
Yeah.
Even the nicest yachts don't have pools on them.
No, can't fit them. Too big. Ocean right
Too
there.
heavy.
Too heavy.
Unless you want to be on a cruise. Maybe they just needed to go on a really nice cruise.
You got to be really careful about the amount of water you have in the boat.
Yeah, absolutely. That would be a good thing to keep an eye on. I know, it's so weird. It's like they were just trying to be those guests that like complain about everything.
I don't even know. Yeah. I don't know.
Speaking of the next thing they complain about, I said, how can you see a sea bob and not think it's the coolest thing ever?
I think it's the coolest thing ever.
How could you look at that and be like, no thanks? Like, why did you come on a boat?
Yeah, why?
Because that's the other thing too. Like when you're on a yacht, the biggest part about it is the water.
Yeah.
If you don't want to be on the water or you don't like water, go to the fanciest hotel or go to a really fancy resort.
I know, like, that's a good point. The reason you're on this boat this season is to sail and go in the water.
Right.
They hated everything, but they specifically hated both of those things.
Right.
I'm like, why are you here?
Yeah, no shade, but there's better options. It's like,
Yeah. Go to the beach club. They have a pool. They
yeah.
have service. They have champagne that you keep in your room.
hire your own personal chef if like that's super important to you.
Yeah.
It just doesn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah,
I think they wanted to be on the show.
I think so too. I think that was the selling point. And
But
then
for
they're like,
what,
oh,
though?
this is the boat.
But for what? They didn't even care.
Yeah.
Oh my god, this thing just scared the crap out of me.
What'd you think it was?
I thought it was a cat. And I was like,
a red cat.
well, no, I just hit it with my hand. I was going like this, and then I went like this, and I was like, ah. You guys can't see this, but it's like a giant stuffed spider. And it's got like a giant wig on.
And she's petting it.
And I'm petting it because it kind of feels like cat fur, and that's what scared me. Anyways.
Any hoozles.
Yeah, so then the one guest kind of did this sea bob. Like, not really, only a couple of them got in the water, I think.
Yeah. And probably because production was like, hey, you got to get in the water.
I
Like,
know.
we're down here now.
So what's next? They do the mixology class. Surprise, surprise.
They hated it.
That's the quote I'm thinking of. Oh, chocolate. I remember when they first invented chocolate.
Sweet, sweet chocolate. How I always hated it.
I always hated it. That's the guests with the mixology.
Is your mother home?
Ma! That's a classic.
That is. That's a great episode. But yeah, the mixology thing. Like, if I was Daisy, I'd be like, you asked me for this.
Right.
Why are you complaining?
Yeah. And then what do they... We see them make like a couple drinks. They don't like either one of them.
No. Except my boy Marcel. He was liking them.
Oh, I was going to say, the only person that was slightly cool on this charter was Marcel.
Love that guy.
He was just trying to have a good time.
He was just chilling.
But no one else wanted to have a good time.
Yeah. You always wonder, like, you see people, like, he was just seemed like a cool guy, was very kind, said please and thank you.
Yeah. How
does he get mixed up with that crowd?
Well, he was married to one of them.
He should be selling chocolate bars for school uniforms. I don't know where that came from.
SpongeBob.
Oh, yeah.
But it wasn't for school uniforms, but I'll let it slide.
Fair.
So now it's dinner. Did you want to talk about dinner?
Sure. Chloe says, keep your forks ready, motherfuckers. He thought that was really cool. I didn't.
Yeah, he's pumped about that quote, that line.
The first one was a romaine wedge salad with a Parmesan emulsion and a truffle Ray Romano. I don't know how to say that last part. Pecorino Romano.
Oh yeah, it's a type of cheese.
Yeah, it's like a salty hard cheese. And then it was just a salad wedge with Parmesan cheese, basically.
I liked that. I would eat that.
Yeah, I would eat that. Oysters.
We just had wedge salads.
We did.
They weren't that good though. The idea was
Yeah.
good. The vinaigrette was bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
I mean, it was good enough, but yeah. Hot honey is a miss.
yeah, it was a hot honey vinaigrette, and it was just too. There was something about it that was like there was an aftertaste to it.
Yeah. And then the next part was the oysters. What did he call them? The oysters Cloysifeller? Cloisters Rockefeller or something?
Yes,
I don't know.
something. Yes.
And then Daisy spills the drink on the table.
I literally wrote. I gasped when she did that.
Yeah.
I was like,
That was just the cherry on top.
I know that is the worst, and it's always like you always make those mistakes with the worst people too,
Yeah.
because stuff like that happens. You literally cannot be perfect. You're gonna spill stuff, like whatever. And Daisy obviously doesn't do that very often, but I was like, it had to be these motherfuckers.
Like, they're complaining the whole time, and finally you've given them a reason to complain.
I know.
And then you're like, damn it.
You just feel bad for Daisy, because again, if it was with a cool group, they wouldn't have cared. They would have
No.
been like, yeah, whatever.
They
Like,
would have been joking about it.
Right.
Having a good time.
stuff happens.
Not
but-
hating their own lives.
Yeah, thank God this is just one overnight.
Yeah, jeez. So yeah, apparently oysters Rockefeller they're like cooked in lemon juice and Romano cheese.
Okay. I can't get down with oysters.
I try to when I have them, which I don't know if I've ever had them. I could just be lying.
Yeah, I really try when I have them, and come to think of it, I don't know that I've ever had them.
I don't think I've ever had them.
No, the texture's just so bad, and that's
Yeah.
I don't care who makes it. You could give me the best chef in the world, the texture's still gonna be there. It's kind of like the mushrooms we had last night, where you
Those were good.
yeah, you guys are like, oh, they're so good, try them. No, I'm never gonna like it. I don't care if it tastes like cake. It's still a rubbery, gross mushroom.
Yeah. I was trying to tell you guys to dip the sauce in it, but Brad wasn't taking no for an answer.
Oh, I didn't do it. I didn't have
Yeah.
one. Couldn't
Or
do it.
dip it in the sauce is what I meant. Don't yell at me.
Oh, what's next? Course 3.
Well, before that, I thought it was kind of funny. They're like complaining about the apple spritz or whatever.
Oh, Aperol Spritz.
Aperol spritz.
Aperol Swiss.
Apple Swiss. And Daisy goes down to the kitchen with a tray full of them.
Oh,
It's
I
like,
know.
They don't like apple Swiss.
Hey, I don't blame them. Aperol Spritz suck.
What is it?
It's like, I think I've told you this story before. I saw an Aperol Spritz for the first time when I was in Europe. I think it was probably Italy. And it looks so good. It's like red. It looks like it's like a nice, refreshing, fruity drink.
Mm-hmm.
It's not. It's made with Aperol, which I'm going to Google exactly what Aperol is. The only thing I can compare it to is like black licorice.
Ew.
But I don't think... Okay, it says a spritz... They just call it a spritz, I guess. It's an Italian wine-based cocktail. It consists of Prosecco, digestive bitters, and soda water. So it's the bitters that suck.
Ew.
Yes.
And soda water.
Yep.
That's gross.
But the Aperol...
It's got such a good name, though.
I know. How to make an Aperol Spritz. What does Aperol Spritz taste like? Okay, here's what they say it tastes like. Mildly bitter, wrong. It's very bitter.
Mm-hmm.
With an orange and herbal sweetness, wrong. It's not sweet at all. It's light, refreshing, bubbly, and has a lower alcohol content than other cocktails. I can't speak to the alcohol content. It's definitely not light and refreshing. It's gross. So I'm with them. You look at it, like, look at that. Doesn't that look like nice?
That looks amazing.
Yeah, it sucks.
Yeah. Yeah, that's like refreshing.
No.
Yeah. No.
So it's probably like a European thing where he's just kind of learned to like it.
Yeah.
But that's the hard thing about these cocktails too, is like that's why I don't think that's a very good idea, because you had just made 7 cocktails with the amount of alcohol that you needed for all of those. You probably used a full bottle of champagne, which you're using nice champagne, so that's $60 to $80 that you're literally going to dump out. Where I know if you gave me 7 cocktails, I'm not going to like at least 1 to 2 of them.
Yeah.
So it just was a bad idea. I think they were kind of grasping because these people were not giving them much.
Yeah, they were just trying to wine and dine them.
Yeah.
But they just hated everything.
Yeah. So.
Next course, lightly pan-fried crab cake.
Ooh, that sounds good.
And then they say, we haven't even gotten to the main course.
Yeah, and they're like falling asleep, full, whatever.
Like, you asked for this.
I know. Or you guys don't need to hear me say this again. Start dinner earlier.
Yeah.
Petition to start dinner before 9 p.m.
I think they thought 7-course meant buffet.
That would make sense.
Yeah.
But then when you get to the end where they're like talking to Captain Glenn,
Ugh.
because if that's what they were expecting, like a buffet or whatever, like you wouldn't call that 7-star service or whatever.
Yeah, I don't even fully yeah. The end just made me angry.
Yeah.
And then French onion soup.
Which is, to be honest, kind of weird to throw in there.
A little
Not
weird.
gonna lie.
Like one of those where it's like, what's super easy and like can go on the back burner? French onion soup is the answer to that.
Right.
It's pretty easy. And then they just say shitty things like, she asks, I think, Danny, she's like, where's Daisy? She taking a nap? It's like, no, she's busy. You probably asked her to do 15 things.
I know. It's like they had a little bit of a weird vendetta against Daisy.
Yeah.
Like, even from the jump. Where's Daisy? Where's Daisy? There's 2 other stews.
Yeah.
It's weird. Unless Daisy was obviously she's the one they see the most.
Mm-hmm.
Just weird that they were constantly kind of picking on Daisy in a weird way.
Yeah. I don't know. And then I was kind of fed up at this point. I put Mediterranean sea bass with a side of fuck you.
Yep. 'Cause they didn't even want to eat it.
Yeah, and then they go into the whole like half glasses thing.
Yep, they
which we
complained
talked
about that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I just kind of called them assholes a couple times. I think that was dinner.
Yep, that's basically what I had. Oh, you didn't mention the guest that said she didn't like oysters, but they were on her preference sheet. They were legit on the preference sheet. It's not that she like left them off.
Yeah.
She said she'd eat them.
Yeah.
So that's a bingo thing I got. I say one of my bingos was like, or one of my squares was like, guest lies about preference sheet.
Ooh, good one.
You got one too.
The courses.
No, we already marked that one.
Oh.
The perfect for, well, yeah, you already got that one, I think. Whatever, I can't keep it straight because I have those that printed out and then I have it on my computer. But, yeah, I said they're full by course 3. It's almost midnight when they're on course 5. This is a disaster. If you don't like fun, don't go on a charter in Ibiza.
Yeah. If you don't like boats and water, don't go on a boat on water.
Yeah, the dessert was apple crumble, which I think is also a weird choice. I'm not going to lie. Like, I think of apple crumble being like a winter, cold weather.
Yeah, same with French onion soup.
Yes.
And I don't know if, like, they're from maybe the Midwest or something.
But if they were constantly saying about how hot it was. I don't want French onion soup and an apple crumble when it's 100 degrees outside.
I want that in a cup of coffee.
Yeah, a hot cup of coffee.
Hot cup of coffee.
God, yeah. So I would have went with something lighter. And I'm not a huge lemon person, but I think you could have went with like a lemon, like meringue type thing, or I don't know. Not that they would have cared. These guests wouldn't have liked it anyway. They didn't want to eat it.
Big old bowl ice cream.
Yeah, or like a gelato, like a homemade gelato or something. But the apple crumble, I don't know. Obviously, he did it for whatever reason, but just not what I would have preferred.
Yeah, their preference sheet says, I love apple crumble. And they're like, ugh, gross.
I love apple-based desserts.
Apple-based desserts that crumble.
Deconstructed apple-based desserts.
It's just an apple on a plate.
No, it's applesauce.
Yep.
But this is where I said this earlier. Then we see Chase telling Cloyce to go for Daisy, and I was like, stop it.
Yeah, you don't have that authority.
It's so weird. You know what I see it as? It's like if one of your friends liked me when we were younger. Mm-hmm. I would be like, no, like,
yeah, no,
that's how I see it.
I was thinking of like the kid in class that has a crush on the teacher.
Yes.
Like, but yeah, that also works too.
That's the vibe I get. Like, Daisy won't even like hear it.
Or it's like, no, she's an adult.
And
we're not.
Chase's his like reasoning was, yeah, you guys are both head of departments.
Yeah.
But he's like 22.
It's like, you guys both require oxygen to live.
Oh my god. And then it's the next morning and I was like, surprise, surprise, the guests don't like breakfast.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong, shrimp and spinach quiche, not in my top 10.
Oh god, is that what it was?
Yeah.
Oof Maron.
Yeah.
No.
Not good.
No. I did not know that's what it was.
Yeah.
I would not be eating that either. A shrimp quiche.
Yeah.
Oh god, those two things shouldn't go together. Eggs
No.
and shrimp should not be in the same thing.
The only two things that go with shrimp are coconut and cocktail sauce.
Or in like a pasta.
Yeah, that
You
too.
can have like a shrimp pasta.
And all the hundreds of things that go into pasta. Those two things.
Yeah, but so we're kind of coming up on the end. The other note I have is Daisy kind of snaps at Danny because she's like sitting there talking with Chase. And immediately Danny's like, what did you say, bitch? Or like, okay, bitch. Like, girl.
That's your boss.
Yeah, but then I love that Deanna agreed with Daisy.
Yeah, I did like that.
Because she's not wrong. I think Daisy snapped because of the guests and being fed up with everything that'd been going on.
I got that too, where she needed an outlet.
Right, but
yeah.
like, it happens. Your boss is going to do stuff like that sometime. Everybody's human, and I think the reason Danny was also a little bit defensive is because she knows she technically wasn't in the right. Like, she shouldn't have just been sitting down talking with Chase, but that's her number one priority right now.
Yep.
So we'll see where that goes, but...
Yeah, and, it's gone.
Completely.
It was there for a second. So, yeah, she's talking to Deanna afterwards. Wow, it came back and it was like, hi, and then left again.
I thought it was going to do that a third time.
Comedy comes in threes. Yeah, she's talking to Diana later on, and she's like, yeah, she just came up to me and said this, and blah, blah, blah. And Deanna's like, yeah, I hate it when you do that. And then Danny's like, well, just say something. It's like, what are we talking about?
Right. Yeah, I'm glad that Deanna actually said that. And then, yeah, Danny's like, well, say something in the moment. And Deanna said something else like, I don't know, she had some sort of like...
She was like, yeah, I did, and you got mad.
Yeah. It's kind of proving the point where it's like, you literally just got mad at Daisy saying something. Why would I say something to you?
Yeah, fair.
Yeah, not doing that. So then the guests obviously are leaving, and we kind of end on them talking with Captain Glenn, and we don't know. I'm going to assume it's not going to be as bad as they're setting it up to be. Yeah. I think Glenn is also going to see that the crew didn't really do anything wrong. Mm-hmm. You know, like, the food was good, objectively. You know, you watched a 7-course meal. Daisy was trying her best. The deck team was trying their best to get them out in the water, things like that. So I think they're going to complain, and maybe they won't tip. Who knows? Maybe this has been the master plan, that they don't want to give a good tip. So we've seen this before where they'll nitpick things just so that they don't have to give a good tip. But I don't think Captain Glenn's going to be that mad. That's my prediction, I guess.
Yeah, I could see them not giving a tip because they seem like they're acting like they've been assaulted. But yeah, I'd be surprised if Captain Glenn like took it out on the crew.
Yeah. So yeah, that's basically how we end. I was going to look here. Hold on. Okay. So next episode, the coming up on, we have Detox coming, and I'm so excited. I'm obsessed with RuPaul's Drag Race, but I have not watched Detox's season. So I'm sad about that. I was trying to look. I started RuPaul's season with season 8. And I'm all the way up. I've watched all the way up to season, like, the most recent one.
Season 8, episode 3.
I started on season 8 and I've watched all the way up till now. And my plan is to go backwards, but it just kind of sucks that, like, I think she was on season 5 and I just haven't seen that season, but I'm still excited. So that's basically what the coming up on. Did I miss anything else, though? That's the only thing I had.
The only other thing was the puke bag.
The puke bag?
Yeah.
Did I miss that?
I think in the morning, Daisy is like walking by the guest room and there was a bag on the ground and she radios Chase and was like, "Hey, I think there's a bag of puke on the ground."
Ew.
And Chase goes over there and opens it and he's like, "Yep, that's a bag of puke."
Who is puke?
One of the guests.
Ew.
Yeah.
Gross.
I said it was a very classy thing to do.
Yeah, I missed that. I was just, all I was focused on was Detox and the...
Yeah.
I hope that that's a good charter. I have high hopes.
Are they all drag queens or just her?
Who knows? I don't know. It didn't look like all of them were, but they're also out of drag if they are drag queens. So you just never know. We'll have to see.
Okay.
Sounds like Detox is like the primary is basically what they said, but we'll have to see who comes with. Yeah, I think that's it. So it was a so-so episode, not a ton of comedy that could come out of this.
Yeah.
Kind of sucks for us, but it is what it is.
Yeah, they didn't give us anything to work with. They were just
No.
assholes.
I know. Even some of the people that are assholes sometimes give us like comedic stuff.
Yeah, like they do stupid stuff.
Yeah, like they're like naked in the hot tub or like slipping down the stairs and stuff.
Yeah, or that one charter where the lady just racked her head on the hot tub. That was hilarious.
Yeah, but these guests were just, they sucked. They didn't do anything. They weren't funny.
Yeah.
Nothing. There was nothing funny.
They just kind of moved around the boat for a day.
I know.
Like, they didn't really do anything.
Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah. So, what is our secret word?
Apple spritz.
Apple Swiss.
Apple Swiss.
Apple Swiss. Oh, I was just going to explain the secret word because we've gotten a couple comments from people that are joining that are new. And I did reply back to them, but just a general, we started this more than a year ago, probably. This was Lane's idea. He got it from another YouTube channel.
Don't even remember at this point, but yeah.
It was someone, he's like, somebody I watched, they do a secret word at the end of their episode. So if you comment the secret word, then like you
get a prize.
Get a prize, which is us being like, yay, thank you. So it's just like a fun thing we do, but we try to So Apple Swiss.
Apple Swiss.
Apple Swiss is today's. And also tell me if you guys like Aperol Spritzes, because a lot of people do.
Really?
And if you do like them, give me your pitch on like why they're good and why people like them, because
and also convince me that you're not a liar. I've never even had one.
Yeah, never will.
Never will.
You're not missing anything. But yeah, Apple Swiss, tell me why you like Aperol Spritz if you do. And I think that's it.
What's your favorite color? No, I got nothing.
I hope everybody had a great holiday, a happy new year. We're recording this on the first day of 2025. So thanks for sticking with us, and we'll see you next week.
See you then.
Bye.
Bye.